Hey everyone, you're listening to the DMZ America podcast for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023. Coming to you from the left, I'm political cartoonist Ted Rall.
And I'm coming to you from the right. I'm political and editorial cartoonist Scott Stantis.
Look at you, all fancy with your editorializing. Like, I bet you think you're better than me. Don't answer that question.
You know I do. Come on.
I know you do.
I don't think
just because you live closer to the equator. That just all that means is that the sun has baked your brain. That's all it means.
That's all that means. Absolutely. Yeah. So just a teaser. We're not going to announce it this episode, but Ted Rall is going to have a massive announcement in the next few days. We hope it pans out. It looks like all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. So I'm very excited for my friend Ted. So just giving you a little, all of you out there in podcast land, a little teaser.
Thank you, Scott. Hoping, crossing my fingers. We'll see what happens. And I'm looking forward, if this all works out, to have you play a role in that as well. So
we're taking over a Latin American country.
That's right. That's right. Just a small one. So, it's not
we bought Paraguay.
It won't. Yeah, well, we won't disturb all the grandchildren of Nazis. So don't worry, you guys are safe. Just pay your taxes. And just remember the flamethrower drone tax is 12% of your annual income. So just
keep the brown shirts in the closet. That's all we ask.
That is all we ask. And maybe keep your mouth shut about anti-Semitic shit and stuff like that. Okay. Yeah. So that's always, and that's good. That's wise counsel in all cases. So, so Scott, we have another contender.
Oh, thank God.
President of the United States. I know we've been waiting with bated breath. On the Democratic side, the race is currently Marianne Williamson versus Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Yeah,
we have
no choose there.
No declared. That's a tough call. Marianne Williamson is actually a really fun candidate. And would I be terrified if she were president of the United States? No, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be expecting her to start any stupid wars. I would not expect her to involve us in any stupid proxy wars. So, she might be all right. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is getting slagged for his views about vaccines.
As well he should.
And for having pointed out accurately that George W. Bush stole the 2004 election. But and of course, we still are waiting for Godot, waiting for Joe Biden, waiting for Trudeau.
That's pretty good.
They say that, yeah, you can steal that. We're talking about this is the time of the year when you would really expect these announcements, March, April, May of the year before. That's when it happens. And now I've read reports that he's considering July, August, maybe even September or October. Morning Joe on MSNBC actually had the balls, and I think I'm going to write my column about this this week. I'm pretty sure they said Joe Biden's not facing any primaries, so therefore he can declare late. And it's like, well, first of all, last time I checked, Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are declared candidates for president of the United States. They have filed the paperwork. So MSNBC might not think they're serious candidates, but there are candidates. Marianne Williamson's actually doing pretty well. She's at 14% in the Democratic polls.
Really?
I think is a reflection of the fact.
Ted, I got to stop you for a second. I'm going to feign stupidity here. Who is she?
She's kind of like a new age, guru author type. So she's, she's like where Kumbaya lives is the easiest way to put it. RFK Jr. is of course political royalty. And really looks remarkably like his father. It's crazy. And
doesn't sound like him. Not as articulate.
And he's married to Cheryl Hines. That's kind of awesome.
You mean like the Heinz ketchup people?
No. You're thinking of that's what's her name, married to John Kerry. No, Cheryl Hines, she's an actress. She's blonde. She plays. She did play the wife of Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm for several seasons.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
She's adorable. Yeah. So anyway, so it speaks highly of him that he's married to her. Anyway, but that's the Democratic side, which obviously the main guy hasn't shown up yet. The big guy, as a certain laptop calls him. maybe, maybe he'll get a job in Ukraine at Burisma if this president thing doesn't work out. So so far. Oh, by the way, I should say that as we were queuing up the podcast, breaking news just came across my phone from the Wall Street Journal that I think will affect the complexion of this race, which is that the Federal Reserve Bank is officially forecasting an official defined recession for this fall. They're not saying, they're not sure about how deep it will be, but they are officially forecasting an economic contraction for this fall. So that's pretty much something. The Fed's not always right about things, but they're usually right about this sort of thing.
They've been pushing hard for that. They wanted to break something, and the numbers that came out this week, inflation is at 5%. It's cooling. We could come in for a soft landing. The Fed doesn't want that for some weird reason. They just want us to bleed. And
capitalism's all about pain, Scott. I keep trying to tell you that.
It certainly is from these guys. I've been begging them. I mean, just saying, please, just hands off, man. Okay, enough's enough. Obviously, inflation now is starting to go down. So unemployment continues to stay low, mercifully. More job creation. That's great. But just enough's enough. I don't want a recession. Recession's bad.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't want anyone to lose their job. I don't want anyone to have to take a pay cut. I don't want any businesses to go under. It sucks. I mean, certain businesses, sure, and of course, we really do need a radical expansion in the the key flamethrower drone sector of the economy, which has been. It really is just waiting to burst out or explode, as it were. So there's a new so on the Republican side, Scott, please walk us through who we've got so far.
The only one that's actually announced is Donald J. Trump. Has announced that he's running for re-election. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, former ambassador to the United Nations under
she's formally
Trump.
declared as well.
What's that? Yes, that's
so
it. The other three that have not, but look like they're gonna. Well, there's one more we're going to talk about in a second, but the three that high profile guys: Mike Pence, of course, the former vice president.
I don't think he's going to do it.
I don't know that he has the balls. I really don't. I don't
think he's stupid enough to run. He knows he doesn't stand a chance. So
well, maybe he'll get to be vice president. Oh wait. Ron DeSantis, the current governor of Florida, who has not declared, which it tells me that the guy doesn't have the balls. I thought he had, because you're going to have to declare really soon if you're going to run.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and say 55-45. He's not running.
Yeah, no, I think it's higher than that now. And Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, which nobody knows or likes.
Nobody likes him. He doesn't even like him. He looks at himself in the mirror and he's like, I hate me.
Yeah, I'm just a tool.
What about Abbott? What about Abbott, Texas governor?
He hasn't really shown any interest. I was going to say in running. He's in a wheelchair, so there's a joke there somewhere. But
not a good one.
And he's about to pardon a murderer. But the thing is, this murderer actually murdered a woke protester who happened to be armed. So and
more importantly, happened to be black.
Oh yeah, but so he's going to get pardoned. Toot sweet. Which is unbelievable to me. What a story. What an unbelievable douchey thing to do. I mean, really.
I think when you shoot someone, you've gone past the douche zone into something else. Look, I mean,
I was talking about the governor, not the.
Oh. Well, I mean, look, I do think that the murder charge is a little overbaked. I mean, from what I understand of what happened here, the dude was in his car. He's driving an Uber. I don't know if he had a fare or not. He happens upon a Black Lives Matter protest. It's a little chaotic. Texas is an open carry state. He observed someone walking towards him carrying a handgun, but not pointing the handgun at him. But he saw the person walking towards him. We don't know if he was walking towards him with any intent or whether he just happened to be walking in that direction. But anyway, he took it as intent, and he shot the guy to death with his own gun, because this being Texas, everyone's got to have their own gun.
Well, but the thing is, he was it was a trial by a jury of his peers who found unanimously that he did indeed murder this guy. That he was
true. They saw had something we didn't have. They had all the facts in front of them and all the testimony. But and it is Texas, so you have to assume that many of the jurors were conservative. But I still think it's it sounded more frankly, like a manslaughter, or at least, I don't know if Texas does first and second degree murder, or it is just do murder. But if it was in a state with second degree, I would say it's certainly not premeditated. It couldn't have been premeditated. So, and intent matters. It sounds to me like a manslaughter charge. This guy could be executed. It seems a little extreme.
Maybe, but does he deserve to be pardoned? This is the guy who this governor cannot pardon him fast or hard enough.
We know why this is, right? This is obviously virtue. It's the opposite of virtue signaling. It's dog whistling to the right-wing base. This is a Fox News story through and through. It's very Kyle Rittenhouse-y. It's that kind of thing. But then we're saving the least good for last. We have a new announcement. It's sort of a half announcement. It's a demi-announcement.
Well, he announced. Hey, listen.
No, he didn't announce. He announced the formation of a presidential exploratory committee.
Oh, is that it? For some reason, I read a headline just before we went on that he had announced. No, so it's one of those bullshitty. I'm going to explore this. I'm going to go across the Arctic before I actually put down roots.
That's right.
Okay, this is we're obviously listen to me. Obviously, we're talking about Tim Scott, Republican senator from South Carolina. He's doing it. He's pulling. I don't want to give this a lot of time, Ted, because he's obviously trying to pull a Nikki Haley here. He's walking around going, "Am I vice president yet?" He happens to be an African American guy, pro-Trump, obviously, because you can't be a Republican and win and not be. This is absurd. I'm going to come back to what I've said 5 million times, and that is, anyone who thinks that the Republican nominee is going to be anybody but Donald Trump is smoking something, because it's going to be fucking Donald Trump. There's no two ways about it, Ted. It's Donald fucking Trump. That's who it's going to be. The recent polls today, I just checked them out before we started this podcast on Real Clear Politics, from every state, Ted. Trump is at least 20 points ahead of DeSantis, who is in second, and all the rest of the bozos behind him. I'm adamant in this thought. Am I insane? Because every time I turn on the goddamn TV, every other day, the mainstream media seems to be saying, and now there's another candidate who has a chance at opposing former President Donald Trump for the GOP nomination. I'm going, bullshit. They don't have a chance. It's his, period.
Well, that's what I think. Look, you have to always allow for that wiggle room, the uncertainty principle. In terms of it's politics, right? Trump could die. Trump could be caught cat fucking. Who knows what the fuck he could be doing? Although cat fucking might improve his standing.
I was going to say that's not going to change anything.
No, it might not change anything. But the poll. To the extent that a lead can be deemed insurmountable at this early stage, Trump has that. He is way, 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 way up. Yahoo News, YouGov, March 30th, 31st, finds him 57% to 31% over DeSantis among Republican voters, building on, he only had an 8-point lead 2 weeks earlier. It is pretty insane.
I think the indictment.
Reuters Ipsos has him leading DeSantis 58 to 21, up 10 points from a week earlier. So, the thing is, what Trump really needs now is a couple more indictments. I mean, he could really he could knock DeSantis out of the race once and for all.
Yeah, I mean, this was clearly I mean, it's amazing, Ted. It's friggin' amazing. I mean, this is
What's going on?
Honestly,
You're a conservative. I mean, what is the deal? What's going on? I mean, with your
his people, no, not my people. I'm a never Trump Republican. You know that. I think
but conservatives are obviously rallying to Trump. Even his adversaries are defending him against the Manhattan DA charges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Because I think that those charges are bullshit. I really do think the more I look at this case, the more I think, I mean, Trump's attorneys, and I know this is a matter of form, and these kind of cases have already moved to dismiss the charges. And I think if it goes to a higher court, they could look at it and go, yeah, this is dumb. And this is not coming from someone who loves this president, but it just plays right into the narrative. And you know this, you've mentioned this yourself, Ted, that, you know, the victimhood, right? The whole, you know, we're being picked on by the big bad government.
Poor cis white males.
Yeah, the you know, don't tread on me crowd. And you know, it's all bullshit. We know this, but that's what they play on because they feel victimized. They're victimized because, oh my God, those brown people might actually get some power, might get some jobs, might actually better themselves and, you know, be better than you in that shitty trailer you live in South Carolina. But that's so when going back to Tim Scott, I mean, he's looking to be vice president. Would that be?
I think that's right. I was watching an interview this morning on Fox and Friends, of all things. I mean, I do the hard work so that you don't have to. And Scott was on there, and I was like, oh my God, like he's so grossly Christian. He was just like, oh, like, you know, I think it's important to, you know, to pray for people who are in trouble. You know, that's what's really going to turn the gun violence thing around. Like, we really just need to pray and have faith. I'm like, Americans pray a lot, and there's a lot of Christians. And you know, how's that working out for you with 3 mass shootings a day in this country? You know, I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's like, he sounds like, first of all, he sounds like a man out of time. Like, I'm like, this is the kind of like right-wing Christian politician that like I came of age listening to in the 70s. You know, he's kind of like a Billy Graham type. I'm like, what? I mean, I don't know. He feels like he just doesn't belong now.
That's the party. That's the Trump party today. Don't forget, it's only 30% of the Republican Party, which means the Republican Party is 30% of the electorate, which means, oh God, I was told there'd be no math. And so 30%.
What's 30% of the Republican Party?
The Trump people.
Not according to this. According to this, it's half.
Well, that's who's going to vote for him and who they support, because they think he can win. He speaks for them. He speaks to them, which is bizarre given who this guy is, given his upbringing, the kind of person he is.
It's a little bizarre. I mean, although I have thought a lot about the parallel with FDR, who was also rich and New Yorker and obviously not a man of the people. But like FDR, Trump can look out the window of a limousine, see a gutted factory and a bunch of shitty boarded up houses in flyover Midwest, and think to himself, you know, that looks like that sucks to live there. I bet if someone talked to these people and pretended to care about them, they might even get their votes. Hillary Clinton would look out that window and not be able to see that. Or Hillary Clinton was on her phone, you know, playing Candy Crush or something. You know, they did. Most politicians couldn't see that. Even Bill Clinton, you know, reputed to be a great politician, he didn't see that. And you know, so I think that's the thing. That's what Trump got. Trump's genius is that he's able to recognize other people's misery when others won't look at it. Now, he doesn't have a solution, or if he has one, he's not sharing it. But he can see it. And, you know, for people who've never felt seen, that is not a small thing.
Right. And for people who were seen for years by the Democratic Party, I can remember a Democratic Party that worked actively, and the whole idea in American politics was Republicans are for the rich, Democrats are for the working poor. That's who the Democrats are. Nobody says that anymore. Democrats are for the rich too. They're both for the
Democrats
rich.
and they're also cultural coastal elites. Democrats are, they identify with big city, urbane culture. Probably the most revelatory comment was with Obama's, God, gays and God, guns and gays comment, right? God, guns and gays. His summary of what motivates Republican voters. And he said it, obviously it was taken as being said with contempt. It's probably just shorthand from something that he had heard from a pollster or something, but that's the thing. It's like, there's no connection now between today's Democratic Party, even someone like AOC, who is, one of our bright young lights, she from the Bronx, is unable to connect with like white working class male voters in the industrial Midwest. She rejects them openly. I mean, it's kind of like, if you can't get someone like that to connect, someone who's a socialist to connect with voters over working class issues, you've got a major problem in terms of the future of your party.
Well, I think I showed you, I made Ted jealous because I had inherited from a friend of a friend a bunch of issues of the masses from the 19 teens and a couple of editions of the new masses. But reading it, it's very much, the people, the workers of the world unite, a bunch of community stuff. But you're reading it and it's like, it's all coming from New York. It's all coming from, and clearly they had never met a working person. There's this idealized version of them occasionally, but I'd say the only guys involved in that publication are probably the cartoonists, who did have some empathy for the working class.
Although, in fairness,
America.
New York City was a very gritty city 100 years ago.
Well, true that, but the writing is very abstract. Although you had John Reed in there, which is also very cool to read his work.
He was a great writer.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Pretty good.
He was.
So Tim Scott, God bless him. Bless him.
You're saying this? So Tim Scott's chances of nailing down the Republican nomination?
Nil. Less than nil.
Why?
Because Donald J. Trump is going to be the fucking nominee. The other thing is Tim Scott. Let's take Trump black out of it. Let's say Trump drops dead today.
Tim Scott's black. Would the Republican Party ever nominate a black person
who speaks the way that Senator Scott speaks? Yes.
Under any circumstance, yeah.
I'm saying, yeah, they would. Yeah, the Jesus scene. They'd have to be subservient, but. Oh, God. Let's be honest. I mean, come on. No, you've got a lot of people ahead of line. They would nominate DeSantis. Let's assume for a moment Trump drops dead tomorrow. Ron
DeSantis is the heir apparent.
Yes. Then I'd say Nikki Haley. Pence, I think, would have a sort of not really sort of because frankly the Trump people will never trust him again. Yeah, they don't trust him. So maybe Pompeo, but yeah, Tim Scott. Yeah, no, he's running for a Veep. I think that's exactly
what is Pompeo doing if he runs for this thing. Like,
why not?
What's this about? What do you mean? Why not?
Because he's a big fat white
Cat
rich.
Clovis has a much better chance of being president than.
Yeah, I think your Cat Clovis has that chance, but Pompeo is big fat rich white, goes to the country club where his other rich fat friends, drink 3 martinis and say, you know what? You should run you'd be a great president. I think you'd be a great president. And he goes, you know what? You're right. And he's got, $20 million to drop on this, being stupid and an ego campaign. And that's what that's about.
All right. So it's Donald Trump. He's
yes.
Yeah, we're still there. All right. So we should wrap it up here and move on to our next topic. which, I'm trying to remember, what did we say we're talking
Beep,
about?
beep, beep, beep.
Oh, yeah.
Baby, you can drive my car. Beep, 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 beep.
E-cars. The Biden administration says they want 2 out of 3 cars to be electric vehicles, fully electric vehicles, by the year 2032. Stay with us. We'll talk about that when we come back. Ted Rall from the left.
Scott Stantis from the right.
There you go. That was good.